Good morning. We're on page 4 of your notes. So if you've printed some of the packet, we're doing pages 4 and 5 today. So you'll need those before getting going. So we're going to do a standard form today and really just focus on the algebra behind it. Standard form is another way to write linear equations. AX plus BY equals C. As we get into the graphing, we will show you how to use standard form. But for today, we're going to focus on the algebra of it and work on switching back and forth. So it says equations written in standard form can be converted to slope-intercept form by solving for y. Okay, so it says write each equation in slope-intercept form, identify the slope and the y-intercept. So we need to get y by itself. We're trying to get into this y equals mx plus b format. And then after, we identify the m and the b. So here are the steps I need to see today. I subtract 2x from both sides. When I do that, and then I simplify, I get y equals, follow this order. So your x's go first. So I have negative 2x, and then my b goes last. Okay, so there it is, now written in slope-intercept form. My m equals negative 2, and my b equals 3. On to number 2. Same thing, except we will add one more step. So I subtract my x's first from both sides. That leaves me with 5y equals negative 4x minus 30. And then when I divide by 5, everything gets divided by 5. I've seen some people, they'll write it like that and the entire thing and just have 1 5 underneath. I don't like it that way. Everything gets divided by 5. That leaves me with y equals negative 4/5 x. Just leave it as a fraction because that if we were graphing it, that would be helpful. And then 30 divided by 5 is 6, and it's negative because we carried the negative sign down. So in this case, my m equals negative 4/5. My b equals negative 6. So that's my y-intercept, negative 6. So a couple more. Subtract x. That leaves me with negative 3y equals negative x plus 12. And I divide by negative 3. So when I divide by negative 3, got a couple things you have to be careful of. So this is a good question for you guys to do. I'm left with y over here. These two negatives cancel. Okay, so they cancel out. And that becomes positive. And then I have x divided by 3. Well, really what that is 1/3 x. Because if we were graphing, that would be rise over run. We would be going up 1 over 3 as our slope. And then 12 divided by negative 3 becomes negative 4. So my m equals 1/3. My b equals negative 4. Over here, subtract x. Negative y equals negative x minus 8. Again, we got a bunch of negatives. So this time when I divide, I'm dividing by a negative, which is negative 1. All this does is flip everything. Leaves me with y equals x plus 8. X plus 8. So that means, what is my slope? My slope is 1. And my intercept is a snowman. Down here, the directions for this said, I cut them off here on accident, but the directions said to, let me go to your worksheet for the day. Go down to number 13. Determine the equation that best represents the line shown on the graph. Hint, convert to slope-intercept form. So we come back over here. These ones are going to be a little bit of guess and check. One thing that I'm going to give you a hint on, I do know that my B has to equal -2. So when I look over here, which ones can I eliminate? Is there any ones that I can eliminate? And at first glance, I'm not seeing any I can eliminate, because on this one here, when I divide by -3, that would make that -2. When I divide by 3, that would make that -2. This one's already -2. And this one here, I would be dividing by -1. So all of these are going to have a y-intercept of -2, so that didn't really help. So I can start going over here and just doing some of these. So if I do the first step kind of on the fly, and you need to show some work here, if you just write down A, B, C, or D without any proof of how you did it, then again, I'm going to send it back to you and have you do it again. So in this one here, if I subtract x from both sides, I get 3y equals -x minus 6, and I divide by 3. And that leaves me with y equals -1/3. And that negative is significant. We'll talk about that in a second. Minus 2. And I got to carry my x down. Sorry. -1/3 x minus 2. Why is that negative significant? Well, that negative is significant because that would tell me that the graph goes down like this. So it can't be A. But I do know, if I'm looking here, it appears that my slope is positive, up 1/3. So I think my slope that we're looking for is a positive 1/3. So let's try B. Again, if I just subtract x here, before I copy it over, that gives me -3y equals -x plus 6. Then I divide by -3. It looks like I'm going to get lucky here. Y equals, these two negatives equal a positive, 1/3 x minus 2. Does that fit my equation here? I'm going up 1/3, up 1/3. So my slope is correct, and my y-intercept of -2 is also correct. I'm done. I showed my work. I proved why the answer is B. I can stop there. So hopefully your answers on, there's only a couple more that you have to do. Hopefully your answers are not D on those and you're stuck doing all 4 of them. Your assignment for the day, I've already done 5 of them. So that leaves you with 10 to do. Complete your worksheet pages 4 to 5, 1 to 15. I'll show every step, so you're following what I did in the video. Have a great Wednesday. Make sure you do your check-in.